Hello and good morning. This is the Breville Oracle Touch model BES990BTR. This is the black truffle model. This machine was a trade-in, but from one of my customers, they chose to upgrade to a higher model, so they sold this one to me. I did a basic service on it, so this one needed the major, I think 2 or 3 year service. Where I changed the seals on the boilers, the sensors, steam boiler sensors, did the full boiler cleaning and flush, tested everything, and now I'd say it's working like new. It actually it's good cosmetic condition as well, as you saw in the photos. It's very, very clean. Very minor wear and tear, so mainly where the cup goes in and out here on the tray. There's a small scratch here, there's a small scratch at the back. Honestly, no major chips or scratches that I can highlight otherwise. No dents. And yeah, like I said, works like new. It'll come with warranty. In this video, it'll be a casual tutorial and demo. So I'm still in my pajamas. I'm going to make my morning latte. So I'll be testing all the features, the grinding and tamping, the brewing, hot water tap, and the auto frothing. When I first turn on these machines, I always like to begin with a blank shot. Usually when you turn on this machine from cold, it'll take about 5 minutes from when you press the button until you can make the coffee. But what you can do is you can always set a schedule or a timer so that the machine can wake up before you do. So you can tell it to wake up at 8 AM every day, and then you can make coffee at 8:30, for example. You can always tell it to wake up at different time points during the day, so 8 AM, 12 PM, and 4 PM if you drink more than one coffee. Really convenient for this sort of machine. I don't think any other machine has this feature. So yeah, but if you turn it on from a random point, or even after you let it warm up, I recommend doing a blank shot. So get your portafilter, get your cup, and press the brew button, either 10 or 20 seconds, whichever, just to warm up that cup. Currently it's at room temperature, the handle is at room temperature. If you make coffee straight away, your shot will get cold. It'll maybe taste sour because it got cold. So I recommend you warm things up so your shot can taste better. Go back to the menu. 20 seconds should do the trick. Usually the single shots go for 25, the double goes for 30. I've reset the machine to factory settings, so you can play with whatever settings you want. But in this video I'll be using the default settings for everything. Okay. Once you do that, your portafilter is it's nice and hot. The cup is nice and warm as well. The other thing you can do is when you turn on the machine, you can let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes. That way, the group head gets nice and hot, the portafilter gets nice and hot, and if you store your cups nice and dry, if you store them up here, this top plate gets warm up after a few minutes because it's just on top of the boilers. So that's good. You can use that feature as well. But I like to do blank shots anyway. It also does a bit of cleaning, so if there's any coffee grounds stuck in the group head or in the shower screen, this will clean those right off. Alrighty, I haven't made a coffee on this machine yet, so I'm not sure what grind settings to use, but a good starting point is 20 or 25. I'm going to be using number 20. So the grind size dial is this one. It goes up and down to control how coarse or how fine the coffee granules are once you've ground them. So I've got some beans enough for a few coffees, so make sure you have enough beans before you start. If you want, you can fill up the whole hopper, but to keep things fresh, I recommend only filling half of it at a time. Anyway, once you warm up your portafilter, make sure it's nice and dry, and then lock it in. To grind, you just push it to the right, and then let it back in the middle, or you can just touch the button here. Now, about grind sizes, just a couple things. So the grind size will dictate how fast or how slow your shot comes out. Okay? So if you have a large grind size, you'll have a large speed or a fast shot. If you have a small grind size, you'll have a slower shot, smaller yield at the end. So you can either think of it as higher grind size, higher speed, or you can say higher grind size, larger quantity in the cup. So because this machine goes for a set number of seconds when you brew, so for the single it's 25 seconds, double 30. What that means is that the pump will always give you the same number of seconds, but the amount of coffee will be dictated or will be affected by the grind size. So a perfect grind size, for a recipe for espresso, a perfect grind size will give you a 2-to-1 ratio. So that means for every gram you grind, you want 2 grams out. You grind 20, you get 40. You grind 15, you get 30 in the cup. So this is the double-sized basket. It should take about 18 or 20 grams. I'm going to use my scale here to measure the input and output so we can set up the machine properly for you, but also to give you an idea of what a single and double shot looks like. Alright, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to start with grind size 20. If the grind size is perfect, we'll get our double shot in 30 seconds, not more than 40 grams. If it's too large, if the grind size is too large, we'll be definitely getting more than 40 grams in the cup. If the grind size is too small, we'll be getting less than, say, 35 or less than 30 in the cup. So that's how you control it. If it's too fast, slow it down by grinding finer. If it's too small, speed it up by grinding larger. That's the beauty of this machine, is that it's fully automatic. So as you saw, I barely did anything and it's already come out with a nicely tamped coffee. All I have to do is just lock it in the middle, and it's literally as easy as that. So what did we get? We got 20 grams, 21. So that's a 20-gram shot right there. So that means I want 40 grams in my cup, which is the perfect amount. Awesome. I've got a calibration tool here, the razor tool, just to measure the height, and it is at the perfect height. Not more, not less than what we want. So I'm quite happy about that. Just make sure you clean the edges, and then lock it in the middle. Just in the middle is fine. You don't have to over force it to the right. Let me just clean the wand. Alright, that's all done. Okay, coffee done. Now I'm going to get rid of this hot water in the cup. If you like to add your sugar, sweetener, flavors, do them at this point so that it mixes easier with the coffee. So I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. You also can convert your espressos into a long black coffee by using the hot water tap. If you press this hot water button, it will give you hot water straight from the boiler, bypassing the group head, so you don't get any dirt from the group head. You just get fresh hot water. You can also use it for like warming up your cups. You can use it for tea bags. You can use it for all sorts of things. I'm using it here to add a little bit of water to warm up. Sorry, a little bit of water to help the sugar dissolve, because I added some sugar and I want it to mix nicely with coffee. And without wasting any more time, let's brew the coffee and see what happens. Like I said, it should give us 40 grams in 30 seconds. If it's significantly different to that, then we just have to play with the grind settings as we spoke before. So lock that in. started to come out around the 10-second mark. It's coming out nice and evenly from both spouts. I don't know if you can see that. It's coming at a very decent rate. I think it's a pretty good shot, this. May have to increase the grind size by a couple numbers, but we're pretty close for a first coffee. We're pretty close. Yeah, that's 28 grams. So not too bad, but less than what we wanted. We wanted about 40, we got 28. What I'm gonna do is this is cheeky and not recommended, but I'm gonna let it brew for a little bit more just to get more coffee out of the ground coffee. I'll stop there. So just to give you an idea of what 40 grams looks like, that's about 42. So just there. It's hard to show on camera, but honestly, by eye, you'll be able to tell after a few coffees what is 40, what is more than 40, what is less than 40, based on what cup you use. I recommend starting with a transparent cup in the first few days, so you can just eyeball and learn. And if you have a scale, I highly recommend you use it. Otherwise, you can always just go by intuition and by flavor. You don't have to follow the numbers exactly, you just have to make a coffee that tastes good. Usually, good numbers, good recipes will taste good, but not always. So just go with whatever tastes best for you. That's really good. To improve it next time, to make it taste more balanced, I recommend just running one shot and not splitting it into two like I did. In my case, because it ran just a little bit too slow, I had to extract it again. But ideally next time, what I would do, increase the grind size by 2 and do the same thing over again. Alright, I've had a bit of a coffee accident, so I'm gonna redo the shot. But that's fine, because I think we needed to redo the shot anyway. It wasn't the best. So I've increased the grind size to 22. That should give us a slightly better shot. It should speed things up. Let me just get rid of the old coffee, the old grind size. So one tip that Breville doesn't tell you is you need to purge. So you need to purge when you change grind size, when you change beans, when you don't use the machine for a while and you come back. You need to grind for about 3 or 4 seconds just to get rid of whatever's inside, then make it fresh again. Just like that. Gets rid of the old grind size coffee. And then we'll start fresh. So let's measure that again. Turn on the scale. Grind size 22. That's 20 now, so going to the right direction. 20 grams of coffee. Again, like I said before, we need to be getting 40 grams for a good, decent shot. I'm gonna add my sugar again. let's see what we get. Hopefully we should be getting closer to 40 grams. I'm gonna probably stop it there. That's quite a bit of coffee. So what was that, 23, 24 seconds? We got 45 grams of coffee. So, alright. So it looks like maybe 21 would be the perfect grind size. So 20 was too small, 22 was too large. My gut instinct tells me that 21 is perfect. Maybe I'll leave that up to you. I'll leave you to experiment with the grind sizes and the output speed, etc., etc. What I will say is that whatever I set now will probably be different to what you use at home. I'm getting these results just because I've got this exact bag of beans that is exactly this days old. When you get the machine, you'll probably have to play with the settings just a little bit, but at least now it's in the ballpark. Now it's close enough so that you know, and you'll change it a little bit, but then you'll be very close to the perfect coffee. And now you know what 40 grams looks like. You know how to slow down the shot, how to speed up the shot. So yeah, you saw with your eyes in the first video, when the first coffee it was running a little bit too slow, so we only got 25. Now we got 45, so it's a little bit fast, but honestly, I'm happy there. I had to stop it early, so in your case, you might have to use slightly different numbers. Again, don't focus too much about the numbers. As long as the coffee tastes good, that's all that matters. Alright. That tastes really good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to froth some milk. So, this is a milk jug filled about halfway, just below this spout line. With the milk wand, you've got two modes. You've got manual. So if you flick it up, you press manual, you'll get this steam straight from the boiler, like a barista would be using in a cafe. The barista would be holding the jug at a certain angle for a certain number of seconds, just to give it the perfect amount of foam. And if you do this, you can just do really good latte art. It gets really good results on the manual mode. But what this machine is made for is automatic. So we'll stick to automatic. I've got my settings at the moment 60 degrees temperature, and the foam level at number 6. It goes from 1 to 9. 9 being the most foam, like a cappuccino. 1 being flat, like almost a flat white, or even less than that. So 6 is about halfway, just above. And the nice thing is that you can do steaming while you're doing cleaning, because it's a dual boiler. We'll do that now. I like to give it a flush when I'm finished as well. Run some water, it'll clean the grip head, it'll clean your basket. So that's that. Let me grab a wet towel. When you're done with the milk, you want to pick up your jug and then straight away grab a wet towel and rub or scrub the wand off. Sorry, scrub the milk off the wand. It will get really hot. The milk will stick there unless you wipe it straight away with a wet towel. That's my preference. If you use a tissue, it'll crumble up. If you don't wipe it straight away, it'll look ugly tomorrow. It'll be really hard to clean. So straight away, clean it right away. And it'll automatically clean the tips for you. So it'll pulse the steam 5 times to clean the tips and make sure there's no milk blocking the holes. And then if there's a bit of spillage, you can just wipe that with your hand or with a towel. And that's all done. Looks like a good result, I would say. Not too foamy, not too flat. If you have any air bubbles, you want to knock the jug on the counter to break the air bubbles. And then swirl it around to mix it up. Alright, it looks like a delicious latte. Really good milk foam. Got about a centimeter of foam, which is good. You can always increase that. So that's only number 6. You can all go up to 9. You can reduce that if you want. This is the result I got. A very, very nice looking latte. I'm sure you can do the same and better. With a little bit of practice, you can do even latte art, like I said. Just have to have the patience. Yeah, so that's your machine. Hope you enjoy. Any questions, let me know. And I will see you soon. Cheers.